Forward to that. But we begin tonight with the fast eroding political ground beneath the Republican Party's latest anointed rising star. He is Bob McDonnell, the famously and recently elected governor of Virginia. Republicans thought enough of his national prospects and thought enough of his image as a revitalizing force for their party that they invited Governor McDonnell to address the nation in response to President Obama's State of the Union address in February. Mr. McDonnell gave that speech 11 whole days after he was inaugurated, when the Republican Party decided to declare itself back and better than ever in a slickly produced self-congratulatory web ad. Bob McDonnell was the chosen one to deliver the sacred first soundbite in that ad.
Here in Virginia, we live in the birthplace of American freedom and democracy. And this year, we're thrilled that our Commonwealth is the birthplace of a Republican resurgence in America.
Sold and obviously bought as a moderate, Bob McDonnell effectively ran away from his super conservative religious right origins. Yes, his graduate school thesis, which he did as an adult at Pat Robertson's Regent University, did suggest that women having jobs, it was something that was detrimental to the family. He also wrote that government policy should favor married couples over, and I quote, cohabitators, homosexuals, or fornicators. But that was a long time ago. He was in his 30s. Now Bob McDonnell is in his 40s, and he's mainstream. That kook end stuff, worry not, Virginia. Worry not, America. Bob McDonnell's just a small government, low taxes Constitution lover. He is the Republican resurgence. Except it is not working out that way. Tonight we can report that Governor Bob McDonnell is stepping back from a third radically right-wing policy position that he's taken as governor in response to very negative public reaction. Governor McDonnell keeps trying this stuff over and over and over again. And then it gets national attention and he has to dial it back and pretend he didn't mean it in the first place. It has happened again. Last night, we reported on Governor McDonnell's plan to require nonviolent felons to write an essay about their contributions to society since their release if they wanted to have their voting rights restored. What had been a relatively perfunctory process would now include something like a test of a person's literacy about his or her merit as a citizen of Virginia. And another day, that sort of thing might have been called a literacy test. And in another day, literacy tests were used to keep African Americans from voting in the South. This policy change was greeted the way a lot of Governor McDonnell's governing ideas have been greeted so far. Much of the reaction could be described as horrified. And so today, Governor Bob McDonnell went on the radio in Norfolk, Virginia, acting as if his literacy test for voting policy wasn't really what his administration said it would be. And maybe it's not really going to happen anyway.
There's no essay. We've asked for just a simple statement of what the person has done in order to be reintegrated into society, a little bit about their crime, what they've done to get back into society, any community activities, and we're still in the draft stages. And I just ask people to just give us a few months. We haven't even announced the final process.
There's no essay. Still in the draft stages. Give us a few months. We haven't even announced the final process yet. Sounds like it's not even really a done deal yet. Maybe the reporting on this jumped the gun? I don't think so. Governor McDonnell's statement about this just being in the draft stages and not being an essay and give us a few months, we haven't finalized it yet, is pretty hard to square with this. What you're looking at here is a letter obtained by the Washington Post. It's dated February 26, 2010. It was sent by the Commonwealth of Virginia to a nonviolent felon who was applying for the restoration of his civil rights. The person who received this letter, according to the letter, was being notified of a, quote, new requirement in pursuing the right to vote. Quote, a personal letter addressed to the governor explaining the circumstances of your arrest and conviction. Give a brief description of current employment or a good faith effort to obtain employment. If you have made strides in education or are involved in church activities, please let us know as well. Please also include any and all service to the community since being released by the court and the reasons why you believe the restoration of your civil rights is justified. That letter already went out to people trying to get their voting rights restored in Virginia. But according to Governor McDonnell on the radio today, the policy change that requires that statement, just a draft. Give us a few months. There's been no policy change. We're not asking people to do that. This morning, the Washington Post reported that dozens of nonviolent felons were sent the same letter requiring a letter to the governor as part of their applications for their restoration of civil rights. So this is the third instance of Bob McDonnell governing extremely immoderately and then walking back from those immoderate positions. You'll recall that he revoked hiring protections from gays and lesbians who worked for the Commonwealth of Virginia before he changed his mind and offered a non-binding suggestion that people please not discriminate, even though he was declaring that the law said you could. Thanks for that. More recently, he declared April Confederate History Month in Virginia and failed to mention the institution of slavery in that proclamation. Then he sort of changed his mind and apologized and redeclared Confederate History Month with a recognition that slavery was a bad thing. Appreciate that. And now this. The institution of a de facto literacy test for people seeking to regain their voting rights, followed by this morning's extra flimsy walkback. A walkback that appears to be disproven almost entirely by the evidentiary facts as discovered and reported by the Washington Post. Do you remember Sarah Palin? Remember Bobby Jindal? Meet Bob McDonnell, the latest scorchingly right-wing Republican governor to be tapped by the party as the next rising star, only to encounter very severe turbulence on the way up. Joining us now is Chris